Hello and welcome to Newsclick. Today we have with us Eloi Pieta of Workers' Party in Brazil, or what is commonly known as PT. He has been the General Secretary of the party, founding member of PT. He is with us at Newsclick. Happy to have you with us, Eloi.
Thank you very much for your invitation.
Today, Brazil is in turmoil. There has been huge protests. The last said was supposed to be 1 million over 22 state capitals. Rio and Sao Paulo have seen huge struggles, the protesters being tear gassed, water cannon and so on. This is somewhat on patterns of what we have seen around the world in different places, whether it's US, whether it is Egypt, whether it is Europe, whether it's now Turkey. Brazil was thought to be an unlikely candidate, but it does seem that even Brazil has been affected. How do you see these protests that have broken out, considering PT has had solid support amongst the people, and also the fact that Dilma Rousseff got elected very recently with a good, strong majority? So how do you see this protest of this magnitude breaking out?
I think that in all the world, we have movements of the youth now. And I think that youth and traditional politics are far.
There's a gap between the traditional political parties, politics, and today's youth.
I think that in Spain, in all the country, in Europe, and is the same question. I think that in very countries, many countries in the world, but in Brazil, Brazil is a democratic country. We have liberty of people are free to go to streets, and these 10 years which Workers' Party rules Brazil, the poor people grew the incomes, the employment is one of the lowest unemployment of the world. The tax of unemployed in Brazil is between 5 or 6%.
So there have been major developments in terms of poverty removal, as you were saying. That earlier there were about 60 million who are poor. Now it's only about 16 million. Unemployment is very low. So there have been
the wages have increased, all the wages, and but people want more.
More. Some of the demands.
And youth people
want more.
Youth people want more. More universities, more and cheaper public transport, more a good health public system. Youth is against corruption.
So two things that come out from the slogans of the movement that has come out. One of it has been started actually with public transport prices going up. That's been one of the reasons that brought people in the streets, first instance. The second has been what is seen to be a very wasteful expenditure for Olympics, for the World Cup, in which the stadiums are being built, and people will not be able, the mass of people will not be able to go there because the tickets are so high, the prices are so high. So a lot of anger on that count as well.
We have another question. The big media in Brazil.
Which is right wing.
We have 6 networks of TV in all the country. The owners are 6 wealthy families of the elite, and the media, the main newspapers, the main radios, and the TVs are against the government of Workers' Party. All the time against.
That's been always true.
And they make a campaign, a continuous campaign against the government of PT, and against the stadiums for World Cup, against the economic politics of Workers' Party in government, and I think that this media has a lot of influence in the mind of the youth.
So essentially, while the reason for the people or the youth to be alienated from politics, or part of it is that their immediate concerns were not the concerns of the Pieta, which was more focused on poverty removal. But nevertheless, a lot of the demands they're articulating in different places seem to be democratic demands for better health, as you said.
Yes,
for
good demands.
These are good demands.
Our president, the first woman president of Brazil, Dilma Rousseff, on TV said, I'm greeting this movement are good for our country. I will meet with the leaders of the movement, and the policy doesn't fight against the movement. So because the youth are against all the political parties. All the political parties, they are excluded or self-excluded of the political parties.
Well, in that sense, it's a good thing because now they're coming into politics. So the fact that they're coming into politics is good.
It's very good.
For long term
now
for Brazil.
They are in politics, and they can create another parties.
Or after checking various things and so on, raising demands, they will at least understand how the country's politics works.
Yes,
and this is really the first step.
The youth isn't the leaders. Aren't leaders of the opposition against the political parties opposite to PT. No, the political parties opposite to PT don't have influence in this movement.
So this movement has sprung up really more or less spontaneously, raising demands which are relatively democratic, and has brought on sections which earlier were not in politics, which is the alienated youth of the country.
Yes.
So in that sense, it marks a new beginning for youth politics in Brazil.
But I think that the danger in this case is the question of politic parties, because to have a democracy, we need to have political parties.
So if it becomes anti-political, then there is a threat.
Because the anti-political parties can be a dictatorship solution.
So this is what Brazil had in the 60s, 70s, 80s, before,
Yes.
after a long fight, you really
We had
got
20
democratic.
years of military dictatorship, but now the military are completely distant of these movements, and the youngs defended the democracy.
Now, there's other issue that has come up, that at least in Sao Paulo and Rio, there has been an attempt by certain right-wing forces to try and infiltrate this movement.
Yes,
and
yes,
turn
right
it
for
against the government.
yes, yes.
So that is also the danger that could be there.
Yes, this is the danger. The danger is the violence of right forces or of extremely left forces inside the movement, and the movement can lost the sympathy, the sympathy of people.
After Dilma's appeal to the youth, the temperature seems to have come down. But one of the elements which has been held as a reason for such large-scale protests is also the action of the police. The police were particularly
Yes,
brutal against the people on
In
the
all
streets.
the world, in all the world. And the police in Brazil, like in India, is ruled by the states and not by the central government. So the action of police was an action of the states, and not our government is in São Paulo. O PT ruled the city of São Paulo, city of 11 million inhabitants. So we don't have police in the municipality. The police is of the state, and the national level of government, ruled by PT also, don't have police to this situation.
But there are states which are ruled by PT, and whether it is PT or it is other parties, police seems to have
an
behaved
example,
similarly.
the state of Rio Grande do Sul is ruled by PT.
Yeah.
PT. We don't have problem with the police and the movement, because our governor said our police only will defend the persons against violence of a group of manifestators, of protesters, if they use violence against people or against public buildings. But we don't have problems in our state of Rio Grande do Sul.
Which is where Porto Alegre is and the World Social Forum is held.
Yes. The governor of Rio Grande do Sul was mayor in Porto Alegre in this World Social Forum. Tarso Genro is his name. He's a great leader of Workers' Party.
So what you are saying is this is part of the reason for the struggle are genuine causes which have been there, the kind of issues regarding public health, transport, which are genuine demands of the people. But the threat is that if it becomes anti-political or anti-political parties, then it will not strengthen democracy. And there could be right-wing forces which could take advantage of such a scenario.
But I think that is positive, these movements, because I prefer the young in the streets fighting for
Their rights,
for
whatever.
their rights, than the youth only in shows, of musical shows, and thinking only in their individual lives.
Good. I think on that note, we will conclude the session. Thank you very much for being with us, and we hope this will bring the youth to politics in Brazil and not turn it against politics. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.